So let's go into my multivarious roles since 1999, freshman year of high school. Chaz T. Main, while it was under ownership of the Belfast Green faction before Israeli ownership, whereupon I dropped out. The target was Saudi Arabia, a dispatch from 1998. The commanding officer was George W. Bush, a counter Morning Star, married into the same family via his father, semen stolen from Sam Brown's family by the MI6 Narcotics Bureau, gifted to Senator Prescott Bush of Connecticut, the only proper sperm seminal theft allowed under British law, being into wealthy family of influence. Otherwise, sperm thieves targeted by the Knights Templar, the O'Neills and Georgian Caspians and Taiwanese and Egyptian Sudanese and other lines, especially Hispanic Iberian queens, Simin. The secondary target was the European medical psychology programs that use film and movies as examples for psychiatrists to apply medication with. I was framed as a police officer for film model, with a mother as Irish mob and a father as CIA from Southie, Boston, both of them. In truth, Chaz T. Main is espionage. My mother was Irish Vatican as an MI6 double agent through Imperial India. A double agent feeds both ways. And my father was an MI6 Narcotics Bureau working for the Israeli Defense Forces. My mother out of the South End, the rich part of Boston that stomps Southie, and my father is out of North Attleboro, a veterans community of Kurdish, French, and Puerto Ricans, both of them multimillionaires on both sides. I was given medication which is ineffective since I'm Catholic. Catholics practice ninjutsu age 9, and we have Catholic ritual teaching government with law but without force. Hence, government is always resisted unless incentivized. This is New England law. We're Catholic here. Unless mafioso, laws of religion applied as if police, which is refused, especially by me. Second, a collections agency, the Ikagawa Kai out of George W. Bush, the Bush Society, once again Bush, a fellow O'Neill Tyrone Hugh infiltration of a neo-Nazi 19th century farm movement called the Bund, country attorneys, and farming Leninism with the I, as in Vladimir Lenin. We're abolitionists with a mutual multivariable movement of fingers. George W. Bush and myself, we free labor from factory, white slavery, chattel slavery, sweatshop, and extorted salary of slavery commission. The target was the Teamsters refusing nation of trade upon offense against war on terror pact nations, namely Britain, Israel, Canada, Russia, and the African Union, for violating American law of Patriot Act, the guarantee of rights to suspect, the first and second page of the Act. The rest of it, comp legal defenses and resources for having violated the rigid libertarian application of the U.S. Constitution. Considered military code under police rights, and the military secondary, the police first, the military having fewer domestic rights than police, military held under brig if acting under police code, police removed from force and banned from social security number, and if stealing identity considered terrorist. My method is the Jehovah's Witnesses. My sigle Baphomet, that's Jehovah's Witness, is pacifist as pederasty considered common street fight, the insurance for gift of rich to poor, the murder to defend the impoverished, film used as a lure in defense, and film in defense of law, your 5 points of the inverted pentagram. Each reversed is a queer mark on the individual reversing me. until all 5 are hit. Then the male killing becomes transgender, or if female, there's a marriage boon. They have to break a marriage trap or divorce somebody else that's been married against their will. I took 3 letters and the I as one. The Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne, my song of inspiration, selected. And upon successful duty, I was gifted the song Patient Number 9, an MI6 on American soil written into film by Jewish bigots, talent producers, bullies of family, the extortion artists with the mob. The song's about actually being picked for an intel service with a movie related or the franchise history or whatever, and they don't believe you because nothing special happened in their lives. The Narcotics Bureau. My office is out of KM Old Time Franks and Cheeses, the Grocers Exchange of Chelsea, Massachusetts. We're targeting a York Fens family, alias Moen, M-O-E-N, acting through the Donald Nixon's family. They're spreading the rumor of cooperation between the British Commonwealth and Israeli interests. That's false. The British are at a de facto state of war with Israel. Common in propaganda overseas this fact since 1948. The seizure of British Palestine, British property and territory from Britain by Jewish Haganah and Hashemer. My solution was the Salvo House, a confinement ward placed under the control of Donald Nixon's descent, Gwen Pratt, 2 T's, a Qureshi family, those are pearl divers, through the false invocation of God, a self-marriage trap into my kinsman by descent direct, Torquemada, a Kurdi immunity to hypnosis played into shape to remove Salvo House from quarantine from Italians misregistered as Irish by Ellis Island Slavic Jews. Italians having a distaste of tomato. The Italian genome has a distaste of tomato versus Irish preferring tomato, nightshade. The narcotics trump I'm using is that the victims of family involved, children placed in juvenile hall, women committed, those are the victims, which is the standard move we do. However, they do this through Salvo House Feminist Rally, a Stasi East German intel without the dam necessary to build by West Germany, the own proletariat framed falsely by Chinese mob registration of sex offender, the stalker websites for private detectives, this performed through SportsFan. The end aim is the arrest of York Fens families working through Belgian Jews as gangster through a minority whip of federal Congress, historian journalists, and communication disorders experts, writers, and private detectives. This will be decades in the future, candidate unknown, at which point we'll control an MI6 politician for the Americans or an MI6 political dynasty, the victims of their families and juvies and commitments being police and psychiatric reform, less restrictive policy supported by the politician we control. I also have COINTELPRO, coin, currency, TE, telefiction, L, location essential, pro, prostitution exchange. This is DC Comics and other comics manipulating political ideologies considered unsavory to the British Commonwealth through CD, Canada Department. The targets this time, as always, are Vanderbilt, the monopoly over delivery food via courier to comp families, an extortion practice for control of city development and city unions. Johnson, the Carnegie Institute, strips of corporate executives attending universities, a B-plus overall cumulative for 2 individual semesters your freshman year, 5 classes a pop, unless sexual assault charge placed on potential executive, otherwise declared a sociopath, a psychiatric abuse victim. Kennedy, the separation of the Jewish community into the National Security Agency, Interpol, and the Mossad to force all the Jews together to work together in a three-continent triumvirate. Hitler's myth come to life for North America, Europe, and the Middle East, respectively. Kemp, the use of first week classes on a 100-level class, your elective studies, your learning models to be discarded later, to control marginalized industrial labor and ignorance through poor education, the guilt by association, the Kaiser Wilhelm laws of New Rhodesia. That would be Congo and related regions like Zaire. Finally, Holland National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. The spraying of marijuana with infertile solutes, Benito Mussolini. To sell corrections munitions to prisons for male and female victims of drug dealers out of the intelligentsia, hidden from charge by campus professor nominations. I won't tell you exactly what I've done, but those are my jobs. Go America, go war and terror. Cowboy out.